morning. Welcome to Studio 5. Starting off today with a common marital complaint. My spouse, too critical and too negative. So how do you deal? How do you handle someone like that? It can pull you down.
Yeah, relationship coach Matt Townsend's here to weigh in. We start today with a little quiz. Matt, walk us through the questions we need to ask here.
Okay, so ask yourself, does your spouse criticize you regularly? Do they criticize everything you do? Do they nitpick every little detail about your life? Yeah, is there nothing you can do right? No matter what you're trying to do, is it never right for them? If you can answer yes to any of those questions, you got a critical partner. Okay. So, time to move out. I don't know what else to say. It's tough. It's tough stuff.
And that's part of it. I mean, if they look regularly to criticize stuff, if they blow things out of proportion, if they look for those little nitpicky things or things that are out of control or something for you.
What do you do? I mean, it's a huge issue because, you know, you're married. You can't just leave every time they're nitpicking. And so one of the things I wanted to do as we talk about this today is focus on we can't do everything in the relationship. So when our partner is critical, we can pretty much only focus on what we can do about a critical spouse. I can't force them to quit being critical. Some people you'll notice are just flat out negative. And
they're negative people.
They're just negative people. And a lot of research, there's a great book out there called Learned Optimism that people might want to go read by a guy named Martin Seligman. But it basically shows that optimistic people in almost every category are healthier, live longer, better relationships, make more money. In almost every category they're better except one, which is they get taken advantage of more.
Oh.
The optimist gets taken advantage of, but they just kind of brush it off like, whatever, bad day.
They just go with it and move on.
So, but the negative person is the one that's going to be critical and hurting you. One of the things to focus on as we get into this, critical people are critical for a reason. And so if you have a critical partner, your job is about 3 things I'm going to suggest you do today. Number 1 thing is don't get caught up. Don't get caught up in what they're saying. Don't react. One of the biggest things I found that happens that kind of destroys the relationship is he's critical, you're offended, so you get critical, then he's offended, then we start this pattern.
You're immediately butting heads.
You're immediately butting heads. The most powerful thing you can do is seriously just stay calm. Take what they say. Now, if you already know you have a critical partner, you know this is coming. You know they're going to be critical. So if I were you, I'd create a plan for how you're going to not react to what they're saying. Literally, take some of their power away.
A plan like what? Like what do? You just
like
chill?
Well, you might chill. You might start to say, okay, next time he's critical about me, I'm going to just say thanks for the feedback and walk out of the room. And then when I walk out of the room, I'm going to freak out and go, Wah! But part of it is gain some control. There's nothing more powerful to someone else that's being critical than you buying into it and giving them a lot of power based on what they say. Just because they're saying something doesn't mean it's accurate. So when we get into this, one of the most important things I think is don't give up your power. And if I have this example. If I got in an accident on the same corner, the same time of day, the same time of month, every month, there's a problem there. At some point, it's not just bad luck. At some point, it's me just not driving well. Same thing. If you have critical conversations in your relationship and they go bad weekly and regularly, there's still some of that you can lead. So the first point is don't react. Second point is kind of watch your message. Watch what's being said to you.
As the receiver?
Okay. Now watch. Because what this is about is anything that they say that's critical, you can make and find a healthier way to look at it.
So it's all on the receiver. They're the ones who interpret whether it's critical or not. Even though it might be intended as being critical, if we want to receive it differently, we can change that?
We can totally change that. I mean, how many times has your kid said, I hate you?
Yeah.
Okay. Next.
Over now.
See, it's an amazing thing. If you've ever dealt with somebody that was like a young kid that was yelling at you, or somebody that was mentally challenged or mentally disabled, if they're critical about you, you don't take enormous pain by that. You just kind of smile and move on. There's a power that we have to not take offense if we manage the interpretation healthier. What I believe is a lot of our partners are critically challenged. They're disabled in criticism. They're so negative, they see everything as negative. And so there's 2 things I watch for to create healthier understanding. You got to watch for the messenger. Who's the messenger giving you the message? Are they that healthy that they're strong enough to actually criticize you? Like if I'm a parent and my kid says, Dad, you're so stupid, I look at the messenger and I realize that there's a context here that's probably not right.
The messenger's 4.
The messenger is 4 years old. Now what if it's my partner who I know is negative? If I know I have a negative partner and they're being negative with me, one of my rules is you don't react to somebody that does what they're doing naturally. If what he naturally does is negative, you just kind of smile and say, okay, that's my husband. Now, doesn't mean we don't need to try to change it.
I was going to say, it's not a take it, like you said.
You don't need to take it. You just manage the interpretation. Look who the source is. If the source is telling you, this house is a mess, and you know they're a messy person, You just smile and say, yeah, we ought to get on it. Let's get on it. So one of it is look at the messenger. The other thing is look at the message. Some of what people say that I think irritates us so much is some of the critical stuff they say is true. Some of it hits us right to the nerve because we know. I know. You need to lose some weight. I know. Shut up. I know. You jiggle wrong. I know. Leave my jiggle out of this. But it's a big deal. And so
it just hits too close to home.
It hits way too close to home. So 2 things to evaluate to try to make it healthier is who's the messenger, and what can I understand about this person? I mean, honestly, are they emotionally a really strong person? Are they socially a really strong person? I have friends that are so socially misfit, they're just so socially backwards, that when they say something offensive in front of a lot of people, I don't get all mad at them. I just recognize that they're a little slow socially. You know what I mean?
You almost expect it or anticipate it.
So one of the big keys to this is make sure that you're trying to turn it into the healthiest message possible. A question I always ask myself is, why would a loving, decent, caring, wonderful partner tell me I'm putting on weight? And so what I'm trying to do is...
You keep bringing that weight thing up there, man. Is that sort of a sender or tender subject there?
I've got something to talk about. Thanks for pointing that out.
Wasn't me.
I'm so out of here.
It was him.
But what I'm trying to do is trying to humanize this person. What we tend to do is villainize the critical person. Like they're an evil, dark, mean person trying to hurt us. Most of the time, they're just a good, decent person, maybe a little ignorant, and they don't know quite how to talk to you about your weight or how to talk to you about improving something.
I like that you humanize
the person.
villain.
Why would a loving, decent, caring, wonderful wife not clean up today? Or why would she write that check when she knew we didn't have money? Well, maybe she didn't know we didn't have money. Okay, so that's the second one. Try to make it as healthy as you can. The third one is do whatever you can and let go of what you can't do. At some point, you've got to start focusing on what can I do with a critical spouse. I guess one thing I could do is communicate to them how I'd rather be talked to. Another thing I could do is try to be positive regardless of what they say. Another thing I could do is seek help. Another thing I could do is write them a letter to express how it hurts me. Another thing I could do is ignore him. So there's certain things that you can do. And one of the things I found is the more you focus on what you can do, the more power you start to have, the more hope you have. Research shows that when people have a problem and they have a plan, and they act on a plan, they feel better. There's nothing worse than having a problem with no plan that we never act on.
That gives you that powerless kind of feeling, doesn't it? Like frustrated.
And so when I coach, I'm always, okay, what's your problem? By the way, having problems are normal. The key to a problem is just making it interesting. If you have a problem you don't want to fix, like that stupid jerk husband that you're sick of, you're never going to build a plan. Except just hate him.
Do you involve the other person in that plan? I mean, at what point do you address the criticism when it really feels like a problem? Sometimes I think positive people are annoying to negative people.
They drive you nuts.
You know what I mean? It grates on it.
Yeah, it's health and death side by side. It's hard. So I would always address it. I try to address it, but my strengths are only going to be in my ability to try to address it with you. I can't make you get it. I can't make you change. Now, this is one of the problems. I think a lot of our listeners think they can actually make their partner change. So they keep trying to get the change to occur. I would almost more just try to get power where I'm going to do what I can. I'm going to try to voice to you, honey, when you say X, it makes me feel Y. And I'd rather see this so I could feel this. Could we try that better next time? I'd give feedback like that. But if they're not going to take it because you're dealing with a critically challenged person, then I just recognize I'm dealing with a critically challenged. But what I would do is get help. I mean, there's no way around this. There are some, I know there's women out there or even men that are sitting there so struggling because they're so tired of the critical spouse. And they're just hopeless because they've tried everything, they think. And so one of the things is, I don't know if I've ever said this on the show, but 70% of divorces are filed by women that are probably in that scenario. They don't know what else to do. And so what ends up happening, then they go to the divorce mediator. Almost always, when they would show up at my office, she'd be done, and he'd be like, what?
Yeah.
What's the big deal?
What happened?
It's not that bad. And she's like, I've told you for 20 years how critical you are, and I'm sick of it. So at some point, we got to wake this guy up, or this gal up.
And likewise, if you're listening thinking maybe I'm the critical person, a great time to apply these principles in a reverse.
By the way, the best way to know if you're critical is watch your partner. Do they tend to blossom in front of you and bloom and get excited to be with you, or do they start to pull away? Do they start like a wilting tulip?
There's an analogy.
Matt's got great ideas. In fact, another idea to actually analyze your communication. So if you guys have a big date night coming up, right?
Huge date night coming up. You can't miss this. April 18th, Friday night. It's a free date night. Saturday, April 18th, 7 o'clock to 8:30. What we do is these free date nights, you come. This is a great way to get your partner to come learn about the 7 basic needs. One of those needs is I don't need your criticism. So if you've got a critical partner, get them to this. It's a free date night. Call our number, 801-747-2121. Here's the deal. If you call by Monday, we give away a lot of giveaways at this free date night. If you call by Monday, you get all these extra tickets for free giveaways. And if you bring a friend, we give you a special price. So get your friends together. Free date night. We have about 100 to 150 people, so it's laid back, no pressure, and we'll fix your critical partner.
Yeah. All right, Matt. Thanks so much.
Thanks, guys.